It's flip season. UCLA continues to build their resurgent 2026 class right before signing day.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of the Locked On UCLA podcast. I'm your host, Zach Anderson Yoxheimer. Thanks for making this show your first listen each and every day. Welcome back, everydayers. You can find it on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. This episode is to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. And hey, thanks for tuning in to the number one sports podcast network out there. What we're talking about today, UCLA dominant win over Southern in women's basketball. We'll kind of talk about some things in segment 2, what UCLA needs to showcase versus Cal and just their second matchup versus a P5 opponent in this calendar season. But to lead off, a lot of news and notes around UCLA today. We'll start with UCLA recruiting. Just after I last posted an episode about UCLA's strong recovery to their 2026 class, they got another commit, James Moffitt, who comes from Crespi Carmelite High School from Encino. And now, I remember when Crespi was my league rival back when I was at Bishop Amat, but Crespi Carmelite, they got a 6'4" defensive lineman. And this is a guy who I think I've seen pictures was at the UCLA game versus Washington. So here's probably among a slew of guys who have committed, re-signed, or in this case, he's flipped. So UCLA has continued to flip guys. I think it's been, 5 commits in the last couple of weeks with guys recommitting, guys flipping, and still re-energizing the brand for UCLA. And it's like, okay, there are people who want to be at UCLA. Here's something I was able to pull up just the other day. This is from Rivals and On 3, what James Moffitt was quoted as saying to the Bruin Blitz. And this is a quote I always like to bring up when guys commit to UCLA. So if you've heard this before, I'm going to bring this up again. This is what James Moffitt had to say committing to UCLA, flipping from Princeton. I've grown up in LA, so UCLA was always a dream school for me. Always a dream school. So that means that despite the lack of love for UCLA, despite everything, there are kids who want to go there and play for their teams, despite the chaos in the athletic department, despite the chaos in the coaching search. People want to go to Los Angeles. Not everybody wants to go across the country, play in the South, play in the Midwest, go elsewhere. Some people aren't even USC fans. God forbid. There is a huge UCLA fan base and tradition out there. Now, is it the same across the country? No. Are they going to pay as much as everybody else? No. But UCLA has something. There is an identity. There is a brand. Now, it's not with the football program at the moment, but the school itself has something, and people want to play for the school and showcase, hey, I can get a great education, play some solid football, and maybe revitalize a program that's been left for dead. So I love these comments from Moffitt, and these are things that other players have said before. I'm from SoCal, I'm a local guy, I want to play for UCLA. It's a dream school. It's a dream school. Now let's go get all those guys and not let them be wooed by money, wooed by lesser academics at some of these other institutions, and come to UCLA. So this is what Moffitt continued to say in his article regarding his announcement, according to the Bruin Blitz. Even with the coaching situation, I feel like I can play for anyone. I've been through a rebuild in high school and know how rewarding it is to see the work you can put into pay off and be a part of that again. With the resources available at UCLA, I know it can happen. Is this like a grown man, super mature? Man, that's a great quote. Sometimes you see quotes from players post-game, from other guys committing, they post themselves, getting offers, all sorts of things. This is everybody in the high school, college commitment realm. And listen to that. I've grown up in LA and I want to go to UCLA. And despite the chaos surrounding UCLA, maybe we're starting to see a little bit behind the scenes with the quotes from Moffitt. Maybe it's not the case, but that there's a something to sell for UCLA. There's something to sell. And you think about it, there's another job open. Cal becomes wide open with Justin Wilcox. I was surprised, but it's adding to the open jobs and in-season firings that we've started to see from September in UCLA's and Virginia Tech's case to now November when Cal is an open job. So it's going to be a huge battle for UCLA to get the right coach, get the right mindset, because you're seeing all sorts of chaos right now. We're laughing at Chip Kelly getting fired by the Raiders, although I think I'm really just laughing at myself because I'm also a Raiders football fan. I'm not sure if I'm ashamed to say that, but I'm ashamed to see that it was Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly in the offensive side of things. You can see how they've tanked that, tanked UCLA. There's a lot of chaos going around. And some kids can still be able to look through it and say, hey, I want to be a part of the rebuilds. I want to be part of something special. And James Moffitt says, hey, I've done that through high school. And there are other kids who are probably thinking it. And I've been through this whole cycle thinking this was already a great recruiting class. And then it just completely tanked, guys left elsewhere. And then I saw Eric Sonheimer, great LA Preps reporter for the LA Times, kind of post one time about the guys who decommit after a firing were never really committed anyway. And we've seen guys who decided to open their options, and I think that's fair. But the guys who are looking right away after the initial firing weren't necessarily ever engaged with the school or were looking at something that was a better fit, maybe more money, maybe something else. But the guys that have re-engaged, stayed committed, now they can go look at other options and reassess, but the immediate decommitments are like, okay, we want the guys that want to be at UCLA. Moffitt is one of those guys. Moassa, one of those guys. CJ Lavender, who recently flipped not too long ago, one of those guys. Quite a few flips for a program that under no circumstances with what they displayed Saturday night, with what they're trying to figure out in the athletic department, where they're going to play, who's the coach, and they're flipping guys because they can sell the school as a destination because it still is. Now, is it the most iconic football program ever built? No, it's not. I can safely admit that. But there is a reason to put on some of the sweetest uniforms in the sport, play in one of the most iconic stadiums, if it is still the Rose Bowl next year or whatever it is, and cheer on UCLA. Or in his case, play and being a part of a rebuild. But what UCLA needs to do is get enough of these high school kids that can develop, get the right staff to develop it, and not always live through the portal. Yes, in this day and age, you have to live and die sometimes by the transfer portal. But in football, these guys are here for 2 to 3 years. What made UCLA women's basketball so special is that they had a whole slew of recruits come in 1 to 2 to 3 years. And now some of them peeled off, went other places, but they built a team that's largely been there 1, 2, 3, 4 years, a lot of which have been there for 2 to 3 years. And that's what makes this team so special to watch. I'll touch on them more on them later. And for UCLA to become a program to be beloved by the fan base again, to be cherished by the local football loving community, is wait a minute, we need to have players willing to deal with this rebuild, to deal with the nonsense that's going above their scenes, above their heads, in some cases above their pay grade with NIL. But if they can fight through the chaos, like a Moffitt who comes in here, the Bruins are attacking the spots they need. The lack of receiver commits. Now they're starting to build that back up for 26. Well, the Bruins clearly need help on the D-line. Here's a guy from the D-line, 6'4", big guy, playing around in tough SoCal high school football. Oh, they go get an O-line. They're building things and keeping guys around. That's something special for this recruiting staff that is remarkable to go get, hey, guys who got the academics, guys who are very bright and have some pretty solid high school stats and want to be in LA and play for UCLA through a rebuild. Those are the kids you can build the foundation with. Now, if they just don't screw up this hire, if they don't screw it up, the Bruins could be in for a massive flip season, get some talent potentially in the portal, but build things for 26 and into 2027. This is a great job by the recruiting staff continuing to do something super special with getting all these kids either recommitted or flipped and committing to UCLA. Next, we'll talk about UCLA versus Cal men's basketball. This is the big game for the Bruins here in November, right before Thanksgiving. It's not a tournament, it's Cal. Let's talk about that next on Locked on UCLA. The holiday season is right around the corner, and that means it's time to get your home ready. Whether it's more seating for the guests, the cozy new linens for those unexpected or more expected guests, the fun serveware for the holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help you make your place shine. The best part? You don't have to wait. Wayfair's Black Friday deals are happening all month long, and they're up to 70% off everything from sofas to spatulas. Think about you could re-upgrade or you can upgrade the dining chairs, get a new rug. You're like, man, all these people have been stomping on it all year long. Go get a new rug. Go update the look in your living room or wherever you want to put it. Don't miss out on the early Black Friday deals. Head to wayfair.com to shop Wayfair's Black Friday sale for up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. The sale ends on December 7th. Cruising on here in Locked On UCLA, we're talking UCLA men's hoops. All right, this is the marquee matchup here to wrap up November. The Bruins missed their early opportunity to take down now number 2 Arizona. And if the Bruins just want to add more wins against West Coast teams, Cal is another one. I remember some fun memories versus Cal, especially the Josh Shipp shot over the backboard is one that sticks out to me in semi-recent memory when the Bruins had that memorable last-minute comeback against the Golden Bears at Pauley on, what was it, a mid-Saturday afternoon that same year of year 3 of the back-to-back-to-back Final Fours under Ben Howland. That will always be etched in my memory, listening to that game and Shipp hitting that shot and then looking at it. I was like, oh man, how did he just make this shot? All indelible images in my memory. Well, for Cal, they're coming off a game and a couple of games where they struggled to beat Presbyterian in the Blue House. UCLA responded to Mick Cronin's benching of 4 starters to the criticism after the Arizona game with one of their most dominant complete performances, even with a Tyler Bilodeau out with a sprained knee. So the Bruins are a little more vulnerable in this case if they're missing one of their better scorers, one of their better players out for these next couple of weeks. Yet, I want to see who can develop. Is this the time where Trent Perry is going to take some momentum and swing in his favor? Is this where Brandon Williams, who may not be the shooter and scorer we like to see, although he did hit some threes the other night against Presbyterian, can he be that rebounding machine that UCLA needs from anybody? Because it's not been Booker. It hasn't necessarily been Jamerson, although he's still trying to work his way into the lineup after tweaking his ankle, and Cronin wants to give him those minutes. It's who's going to develop into that elite, almost Dennis Rodman type player. Who can be that guy that can just go out and get rebounds? UCLA has enough scoring this year between Donovan Dent, they've got the Sky Clarks. Anybody on this team can go get a bucket, generally. Even Booker can go line it up. But who's going to be tough and get a hard stop defensively and go grab the rebounds? Cronin has talked endlessly about the ability and the need to get rebounds. It doesn't take ability. It takes heart, it takes skill, it takes tenacity, toughness. And who is going to be that? Well, largely it's been the name Brandon Williams thrown out there. Who can get some big time minutes with Tyler Bilodeau out? Seems like UCLA doesn't want to move Daly Jr. to the 4, which could give Trent Perry starters minutes at the 2 or the 3 and have a 3-pronged backcourt. Instead, they're like, all right, we'll keep Daly at the 3, keep that consistent, and then maybe if this is how it's going to be, Brandon Williams at the 4 like it was last game, and have him go work for rebounds. Work for rebounds. Now, is there a world where Booker could get moved back to the 4 and you put Jamerson at the 5 and have 2 different bigs in the game at the same time? We didn't see that too much last year with UCLA and William Kyle III and a Daimata. I wonder if Cronin would ever try tinkering with that in game, or if he doesn't like it, or if those guys need to be off the floor at all times just because you need one to back up for the other. So I want to see if this message that Cronin didn't give his team but did by benching 4 starters continues. If UCLA comes out and dominates Cal by another 15 to 20 to 30 points in a victory up north on a neutral site, then that's good. And we'll see if Cal is worth something. They at one time had the Andre Stojakovic's of the world. They have had some good recruits, some good talents, but they haven't been good in quite some time. Is this a team that in the ACC, yes, it's weird to say that, is going to be better than a Big Ten UCLA team who is primed for Big Ten grinded out battles? I'm not sure Cal can really compete. You never know in a NorCal battle and what could be a lifeless crowd at the Chase Center. We'll find out. Yet UCLA, I want to see how they respond. Can they come out and do something worth watching? Are they going to dominate? Or are they going to leave Cal in this game late? Now, Cal comes out, plays very well. Maybe we'll give them their props. But I want to see a UCLA team just drop the hammer again. They did that versus Presbyterian. Now do that to a P5 team like Cal, an old school rival that you've played for years, and maybe that just doesn't have the connection like it does to the new guys, like it does some just even older players or older fans, whether they're recent or longtime Bruins. I want to see what they can showcase because if they can continue to build back the trust, then you've got some big name games. Right now, if you look at the AP Top 25, UCLA is going to play number one Purdue, host them. They've already played number two Arizona. You're going to go to number seven Michigan. You'll have to play what, number 11 Michigan State on the road. On that same trip, you play Michigan, you play Gonzaga, you host Illinois. UCLA, if I'm doing the math right, has about six of the top 13 teams in the country on their schedule, five of which are still yet to come. Three are away from home. So, as much as the cupcake schedule it is to start outside of Arizona, there's still some battles and things that need to be earned when UCLA plays the Cows, when they play the Arizona States of the world. They can use those as measuring sticks when they play some tough name teams, some big name teams. So what can UCLA do? I'd like to see Brandon Williams to turn into that rebounder. And can this team as collective come out and just dominate? We saw that. Now let's take another leg up against another opponent, dominate them on a neutral site away from home, get that first win away from home. Remember last year, that was a struggle. UCLA winning away from home, namely in the Eastern time zone. The Bruins won't get that chance until Big Ten play. But when the Bruins can earn some victories away from home, build a confidence, build that net ranking from when it's really going to get released, and end up becoming a team that can challenge for Big Ten supremacy and national championship contender status. But for now, UCLA's got to continue to work through the Tyler Bilodeau injury and who's going to step up and become a good starter for now and earn reserve minutes when Bilodeau's back. Speaking of back, UCLA women's basketball was back at dominant fashion, dominant display against a Southern team that has been playing so many tough teams in a row. We'll talk about UCLA and Corey Close's squad preparing to take on some of those teams this week in Vegas by dominating Southern. We'll tell you who stood out next on Locked On UCLA. College football is back, coming to a close. You got college basketball here. There's nothing that won't make me more excited than just simply going to a game because there's the tailgates, the rivalries, energy in the stands, energy in the arena. There's nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting those tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself. The queues, the hidden fees, the prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans, and it's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices. No surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up Gametime. You're looking at, wait, look at these great prices. You can go see UCLA men's basketball play at Pauley Pavilion. You can go even sneak in a last ticket if you want to go see UCLA SC at the place in downtown in Los Angeles. There's amazing deals. You can go get some big-time tickets with Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, the promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Cruising on here with Locked On UCLA, we're talking UCLA women's hoops. The Bruins took down a Southern team that came in, only had one win, and after the game fell to 1-4. UCLA, despite this win, pushing them to 6-0 with one of the best resumes in the country thus far, still couldn't get anything higher than the third spot in the AP poll. Well, I hope that's about to change when UCLA takes on Texas, and what I hope is a South Carolina matchup in the Players Era Festival in Vegas on Thanksgiving night. Everybody's waiting for all these football games. I just want to see UCLA, South Carolina, and the Bruins put the money where their mouth is and dominate, but we'll get to that in a moment. UCLA beat Southern 88-37, and some of you might think, all right, this is an old school butt whooping. The Bruins came out and beat Southern out of the SWAC, who UCLA just beat in the first round of the NCAA tournament not too long ago. Southern, though, in those four losses, have played, I believe, every single game was a ranked team, all beating them by 30, 40, or 50 points. So if UCLA did not beat them by 50 or so points, I would have been pretty concerned against a SWAC team at home. Well, UCLA left nothing to the imagination. Initially, UCLA went up 22-9. You're like, okay, all right, 22 points, pretty solid first quarter. 9 points given up, 13-point lead. That's good through the first 10 minutes of basketball. But let me tell you, the next 10 in quarter number two, the Bruins gave up 0 points. Zero. UCLA blitzed them 27-0 in the second quarter. So that means the shots were falling, the points were going good. 30 points is a pretty solid quarter in its own right. And yet UCLA gave up a fat goose egg on the scoreboard in quarter number two, which meant UCLA was up 49-9 at halftime. They're up 40 points, not giving up 10. And this isn't like that crazy game where CSUN was, I think, playing Bethesda on opening night, beaten by almost 100 points. And yes, we've seen crazy blowouts. UCLA tends to not run up the score as crazy as other schools might. But the fact that in the early parts of the game, when you still had a large part of your starters in, UCLA, 0 points given up in the second quarter. That had to warm the heart of Corey Close, and continuing the challenging from the UCLA basketball coaches that their teams aren't tough enough, strong enough defensively, despite what could be their offensive firepower. This team showed it in quarter number two against a team that is inferior and has been blown out by every ranked team they faced so far in Southern. Let's take a look at the numbers for UCLA individually. Overall, you had a strong night from Angela Dugalich, who was in the starting lineup once again, 20 points, 5 boards, and assists, and her three-point shooting continues at a torrid pace. It's her three-point shooting that allows her to work inside, work outside, giving her three places she can shoot: mid-range, low post, and knocking it from deep. And if she can continue to grab some rebounds, takes the pressure off Lauren Betts' shoulders. And if she's playing 30 minutes, huge. Because I wonder what her minutes are going to look like when the Tamia Gardners of the world and the Sienna Betts of the world are healthy and ready to go. And when the Bruins play the Texases, the South Carolinas, then those are going to be big-time matchups. We're going to need a Dugalich like she just did a double-double against Oklahoma. Kiki Rice, 17 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds, stat-stuffing dominance, 7 of 11 from the floor in 26 minutes. Then you had Lauren Betts, 15 points, 6 rebounds, couple of blocks, 3 steals. So for last year's National Defensive Player of the Year, who could very well be the National Player of the Year, her numbers aren't looking like her usual dominant self. She's obviously getting easy buckets, can get rebounds when she wants, but the Bruins are so diverse in their scoring. They can spread the wealth. They don't need Lauren Betts to go put up 30 and 10 to win a ball game, especially not against Southern. So the fact that she takes 8 shots, gets 15 points, is making her free throws, gets 6 of 8 for the floor while staying under 30 minutes, that's what Corey Close wants this year from her superstar. Not to be overplayed, to be rested, healthy, and fresh. And all those things combined with still maintaining dominance, huge for UCLA. Gabriela Jaquez, not her best shooting night, but 5 assists, 8 rebounds, couple of steals, only 6 points for the senior Bruin, one of the few on this team that have been there all 4 years from that class of 2022. But Gabriela Jaquez continues to carve out a name for herself as the all-around working Bruin. Just does everything on the court, can rebound, defend, get some buckets in key times. Shooting wasn't there, but continues to earn time in the starting lineup. Charlize Ledger-Walker, 7 assists, 1 turnover. And to see the theme that's going to allow Kiki Rice to attack is just Ledger-Walker's presence as the ball-handling guard can allow Walker to come in, grab the bucket, grab the ball, get to the bucket, can do a lot of different things slashing, while Ledger-Walker can run the offense, get some points, get some rebounds, and just do a little bit of everything. We haven't seen Charlize need to go get her own like she did at Washington State, but that's not what she's needed to do at UCLA. And having been at practice for a year, recovering, recuperating, she now has a flow and she's got her own personality, vibing with this team, having been there already for a year despite not playing. You mix in Gianna Neepkins, who only played 16 minutes and did not start in this game, which was rather intriguing. Neepkins, who had 6 points, made a couple of threes, and we've seen her take down teams with her dominant shooting, just like she did against Oklahoma. Not the biggest of nights from her, but we're going to shout out Lena Bilic, the freshman. Hit 4 threes, most of any UCLA player this game, 14 points, 6 boards, best game in her young Bruin career off the bench, 25 points. If Bilic can continue to grow for UCLA, not only is that huge for UCLA's depth off the bench, but also this showcases UCLA's got some future talent on this team currently. Because right now, UCLA's got so much senior laden talent. You're looking at, wait, you have Amanda Muse, you have Bilic, you're hoping for Sienna Betts, and you're like, okay, who's going to take the mantle after that? Well, some of those players mixed with commits and some transfers will be the future talent. And if Bilic is continuing to grow, if she can hit some threes, that's who the cornerstone could be with the Sienna Betts in the future. Muse got 19 minutes and a couple of points. Even Megan Grant made an appearance. And overall, UCLA came through and got a dominant win against a team they should and should always dominate, just like in Southern. Next up, UCLA has Texas, top 4 team in the country. If they win, they play the next night on Thursday night, Thanksgiving, prime time, right after you're done watching those couple of football games. I know that Thursday night, Bengals, Ravens, it's not going to be any good. You're going to want to watch UCLA and hopefully South Carolina. That's what I'm hoping for in the winner's bracket game, not Duke. I want to see Bruins take care of business against Texas and then hopefully South Carolina. I'll get more previews next on the next Locked On UCLA episode. We'll talk UCLA's recap against Cal. We'll have that reaction. We'll have UCLA versus South Carolina and any crazy football news coming up on Locked On UCLA. Hands up, Bruins fans. A clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA fight by fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Zach signing off. Go Bruins.